So during the discussion on document representation, we have discussed that there will be two basic steps. One is this actually term selection, that is which terms to select. And the second most important aspects will be how to store those terms, those selected terms from step one, so that efficient retrieval or efficient search can be performed, right? And for this searching, there are two ways, two basic ways. Both of them are using a form called a form called indexing, or a form called index, using which we can actually perform the search faster. Just to take a step backward, earlier we have seen that if we perform an operation like grep, it will be too much time consuming, as it performs the search using a linear search or a linear scan. So as an alternative, we'll be just indexing the selected terms so that we can indexing. The first choice is creating a term document incidence matrix, and the second is creating an inverted index. So to make a term document incidence matrix, or in short, simple incidence matrix, what we will be doing is we will be storing for each document D the term which are appearing in that document D, right? So if there are m number of unique terms in the collection, and if there are n number of basically documents in the collection, it will be basically a matrix of size m cross n, where m is the number of row, n is the number of column. So we will be placing a term identifier. We can let's call it term ID across each rows. So in the matrix, each row it will be basically the TIDs or term IDs, and by each column we will be basically storing the doc IDs or DID. I'm just writing the short forms. Now let's spend a couple of minutes on why shall we be using a term ID rather than the term, or a document ID rather than the something else. So the thing is, for the term ID, we can actually use the term itself as well. As we have seen, we can actually write the terms here as well, like A, then apple, and then so on and so forth. Also, we can make a list, basically one-to-one mapping. It will be having two columns. One is basically the terms, and the second column will be basically the corresponding IDs. Why this is can be actually useful is because term matching, as I hope all of you remember the function strcmp, takes less time, takes more time as compared to performing an equals to, which can be applied on an integer, right? In this case, both of them will be integers. But to perform an strcmp, basically both the parameters will be strings, and it will take some time as compared to performing integer comparison. So in this case, what we can do is we can have this kind of a lookup table, where we will be only looking for the ID of the term, and from afterwards we will be using the corresponding ID only, not the term. But as I said, it is also quite popular among researchers to use the term itself as a term ID. So it can be actually done. But for document ID or an identifier to represent or to indicate the document, the most useful or most sought after option is to use some kind of an integer representer or some kind of an integer doc ID, because we know that every term can be represented by itself. But what is a document? Document is basically a set of terms, isn't it? How can we actually name a document? We can name a term by itself. Apple, a term apple. So we can represent apple by apple. But let's say it is a document, say D. There are multiple terms. So how to call it? How to uniquely identify it? So one way is to have some kind of an identifier or unique identifier of the document. That can be some strings as well, like some randomly generated strings. But the most used option is basically using an integer doc ID for representing the individual documents. So if there are n documents in the collection, usually retrieval mode or usually information retrieval systems represent the individual documents by an integer, say from 0 to n minus 1 or by 1 to n. Excuse me. So individual documents will be now 1, 2, 3 and so on, or 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1. This is an important concept that we'll be using later on. But in this course, we will be representing the term by itself. So the term ID will be basically the term itself. And the matrix, as we have discussed, it will be basically containing 1 for matrix TD if T is present in D, or 0 if T is not present in D. So it will be basically a matrix like this, M cross N, M number of rows, N number of columns. Sorry, it will be N. And as an example, this is an example. Here, these are the terms in each row, and these are the document in each column. So from this matrix, we can actually get incidence vectors. So this is called term document incidence matrix, or in short, incidence matrix. And from this incidence matrix, we can get incidence vector. Particularly, we can get term incidence vector. In short, we can refer to them as TIV, or we can get the document incidence vector as well, or DIV in short. So by term incidence matrix, it is basically by term incidence vector, it will be basically a vector for each term, which will be indicating the documents it is appearing in. And for DIV, or document incidence vector, it will be basically a vector for each document D, indicating the terms that is occurring in D. So basically, this will be the individual. I mean, if we look at the terms like this or the list like this, we will be basically getting the TIV, or the term incidence vector. So this is basically the TIV. And if we want to get the DIV, so we need to go by the column. So this will be basically the DIV. So TIV of Caesar will be, say, 110111, 110111, which indicates it is appearing in 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 document. For DIV Hamlet, it will be 0110011. That means the terms 2, 3, 6 and 7 is appearing in Hamlet. And we can perform a query such as this: Caesar and Marcy, not Brutus. So what we will be doing is we will be first getting the corresponding term incidence vector of the individual query terms, and then we will be performing a bitwise AND. So for Caesar, this is the term incidence vector. For Marcy, this is the term incidence vector. And for Brutus, if we look at Brutus, so this is the term incidence vector. So it is basically 110100. So it is not. So basically all 1 will be transformed into 0 and all 0 will be transformed into 1. So for Brutus, it was 110100. So after performing a NOT, it will be basically 0, 0, 1, then 0, 1, 1. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Then we will be performing a bitwise AND. AND means if both of the, A and B, this will be 1 if both A and B are 1, and this will be 0 if either of them is 0. So after performing a bitwise AND, this will be 0 because 1 is 0. This is also 0. This is also 0. This is also 0. But this is 1 as all of them are 1, and this is 1 as all of them are 1. So basically, this will be the resultant, the resultant term incidence vector. Note that we started with term incidence vector, we are ending with term incidence vector. So we were starting with term incidence vector of the individual query terms. Now this is the term incidence vector of all these three terms combined together. So basically this is the TIV of the query if we represent it by Q. So this will be basically indicating the documents in which, basically the documents which is satisfying this kind of a Boolean clause. So if we look at this, so basically we will be understanding that it is basically occurring. So this condition is being satisfied not by the first document, not by the second document, not by the third document, not by the fourth document, but for fifth and sixth document. So in the fifth and sixth document, which is this and this, Othello and Macbeth, we will be seeing the presence of Caesar and Mercy, but not Brutus. Caesar, Mercy, Brutus, not Brutus, not Brutus. So this is formally called Boolean retrieval. So in Boolean retrieval, the basic assumption of making the query is the information need in this Boolean query would be represented by some Boolean constraint, and considering the Boolean constraint, the Boolean query will be called a Boolean clause. So the Boolean constraints, as we know, this will be AND, OR, and not. So some of the example Boolean queries are this. So to give you a graphical representation of this Boolean retrieval scenario, if the query is X and Y, and if the rectangle is representing all the documents in the collection, then X is basically, let's say these are the documents, this circle is basically the document satisfying X, and this circle or this ellipse is satisfying the documents containing the term Y, and their overlap, which is basically X and Y, or basically the intersection of these two ellipses, is basically the query, basically the result, that is the resultant of this kind of a Boolean query. For X or Y, it is basically OR, document satisfying all the X or query term X, document satisfying query term Y, and X or Y means it's union. So for AND, it is basically intersection. For OR, it is basically union. And not, so X is, we know, this ellipse, not Y is basically everything in the collection except this. So as this was Y, so everything else is basically Y naught. And X and Y naught is basically this part. So this part is basically all the documents that is satisfying this kind of a Boolean query. Okay. So the advantage of using Boolean retrieval is, it is, if the collection is small, it is easy for the system to actually understand the query and to perform the search. While performing, the user can actually get or understand why certain documents are being retrieved and why certain documents are not being retrieved, because it's simple overlap, right? And the common strategy for finding the right balance is if the query is too broad, add and or and not, and if the query is too narrow, add some or constraint, because or constraints will be including more documents, and constraint or and not constraint will be selecting less document. So if the query is broad, that means the aspect is quite broad, we need to narrow it down. So for that we will be applying and or and not, and if the query is already narrow, then we will be applying or, so that it must not become further narrower. But the disadvantage is, here in this Boolean retrieval, as we have seen, for x sum star y, all x and y are considered equally important, which is not the case. And it is sometimes hard to formulate a query because, I mean, complicated queries is, actually very hard to formulate in using this kind of a Boolean clause. But the most and foremost important disadvantage is the consideration of all the query terms is equally important, which is not actually practically true, we know. So also, if we if we look at the problem of creating the incidence vector or incidence matrix, and if say the document, the collection that we are handling is containing 1 million document and containing say 500,000 distinct word, it will be basically a vector with 500,000 rows and 1 million columns. So it will be too large with so many zeros and some ones. It will be an extremely sparse matrix. So of course we can actually perform some kind of a sparse matrix representation to actually store it in an efficient way, but still there are certain other limitation of using incidence matrix. As one is proximity based queries, we will not be able to perform a proximity based query, and another is performing a ranked retrieval, which will be too hard to perform using an incidence matrix like this. The solution is using an inverted index, which is the second choice, to store the selected terms from the first step of document processing.